On this episode of the Best of Bias Podcast, you got your boy. We back in the building. It's Friday. We talking NBA playoffs. We talking, what else we talking today? We talking Guardians of the Galaxy. This one is a Guardians of the Galaxy review episode for sure. I'm actually seeing a movie on time now, so I'm gonna review that movie for you. And just some other movie updates and movie news that I've seen recently that I want to, holla at y'all about, because this episode's mostly going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 review with a little bit of basketball, NBA playoff updates sprinkled in there for you, with a couple of trailer reviews. We got some good stuff for you. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Where that theme song at? Thank you for being here, and let's rock, baby. It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias Podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Lydell Dinero, in the house. You know what I'm rocking. You see it, the Nuggets, baby. I'll get into that in a second. But it is Friday. It is time for another Best of Bias podcast, your favorite podcast of the spring, going into the summer, then you're going into the winter, you're going to the fall. Whatever order it goes to, whatever season it is, I know it's your favorite podcast. Your man's in the building, your boy's in the building, your brother in the building. We talking a lot today. We got some topics for you. It's mostly, like I said, going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 review, a couple of trailers and updates about, the Writers Guild of America being on strike and some of the fallout from that. But you know how we like to start it. We like to start it with a little bit of basketball updates. We're in the playoffs right now, so every time I talk to y'all, there's been like 2 or 3 games for each team already played, you know what I mean? So I got to keep you guys updated to stay as accurate as possible. So let's start on the Western Conference and talk about some NBA playoffs. How about that? Let's do it. So starting with, of course, my Nuggets, you know what I'm saying? The 1 seed, we're against the 4 seed Suns. It's been a good series so far. Last time we talked, I think we were up 2-0. And since then, we played 2 other games in Phoenix. The series has been good, man. At home, we, did what we were supposed to do. We were one of the best teams at home all season. So we took care of business at home, first 2 games. We talked about that. But once we got to Phoenix, it got a little harder for us. I'm not going to lie. They showed out. That environment's pretty tough to play in. Phoenix is always going to bring the noise. Their fans, we had experience with it a couple of years ago where we had to play the Phoenix Suns, and their fans, come out there and represent, talk mess, and sometimes can take us out of our game. And even though we were in the game and only lost by like 5 to 6 points each game, Devin Booker and KD were on some flamethrowing type, super accurate shooting type stuff. Booker was shooting like 80% for the 2 games in Phoenix. Some super high playoff percentage, shooting higher than Michael Jordan. So everybody knew kind of that he would cool off eventually when it came to his shooting and his accuracy and his, his dominance, you know what I mean, in each game. And we thought that Phoenix was actually going to need it. Plus some contributions from Phoenix's bench showed up in Phoenix when they did play. Landry Shamet, specifically in game 4, had about 5 3-pointers at 17 points total. We see more contributions coming from TJ Warren, some Terrence Ross as well coming off the bench. Cameron Payne is actually holding it down for Chris Paul somewhat. I mean, he's not as talented as Chris Paul, no way, no how, but the pace is kind of moving faster for the Suns. Them being in transition and their transition scoring is where they can get us. We just, have to make sure we, play defense, and if they miss shots, get rebounds and run ourselves, and don't get caught watching after we have a bad, offensive drive or something like that, or a possession, excuse me. That's been mostly our problem, especially in Phoenix. We would take a bad shot, and then off that bad shot, Devin Booker or Kevin Durant will run down there in transition and either get fouled or score a bucket. So if we're able to maintain ourselves out there in Phoenix, I think we can get that game what is it, game 6 now that we needed. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm skipping over right over game 5. After we did lose those 2 games in Phoenix, we came back to Denver and we were able to show that we were the better team. We played great at home and showed that we actually are that great team at home. We won that game by about 15 to 16 points. There was a point in the game we were up 24, really had our way with the team, showed our role players actually showed up at home. We just need them to do that one more time in Phoenix and we can close this out. I don't want it to be a game 7 and us have to prove how good we are at home in game 7 to move on. I want us to be decidedly moving on, beat them in Phoenix, and have some rest for whoever we play, whether it be the Lakers or the Warriors, which I'll talk about in a second. But I can't let it slip past what kind of performance Nikola Jokic is having. People are talking all about Kevin Durant, talking all about Devin Booker and his accuracy and his shooting percentages and stuff like that. But Jokic is quietly having one of the best playoffs ever at anybody in the playoffs this year. He just passed Wilt Chamberlain for the most playoff triple doubles by a center. He's like the second player in NBA history to have 300 points, 100 rebounds, and 75 assists in 10 playoff games or something crazy like that. The stats just keep happening. He just made second team All NBA for the 5th year in a row. I think that's the most by any Nuggets player. I'll get to that in a second. I think I remember all the players that are in these All NBA teams. I'll tell you about the first, second, and third team. But yeah, Jokic has been crazy. He had a 53-point game. I think he's averaging something like 37 points, 11 rebounds, and about basically 9.8 assists, shooting 40%, 60% from the field and like 40% from three. It's crazy. It's a center we're talking about here. You know what I mean? So it's pretty wild. But speaking of the team that if we move on, we might play the Warriors and the Lakers. That's the next series we need to talk about. I don't know what the series was. It may have been 1-1 last time I talked to you guys, but since then, no, was it 1-1? I think it might have been 1-1. But since then, the Lakers got a big jump on the Warriors. They're now up 3-1. Yeah, it's looking pretty ugly for the Warriors, but everybody, all the media heads and stuff, seem to think that the Warriors can make a comeback and get out of this deficit and win at home here today. The game's actually happening today while I'm recording. I'm recording on Wednesday this week. So the game's actually happening right now. People think if they can win at home, just steal one in LA and then go back home to the Chase Center, they have a chance to actually move on to the Western Conference Finals. But it's gonna be a heavy task, man. LeBron has been playing, all right, not super, super great, but playing enough to where he can help his team, get in the right spots to move on. The role players are taking turns being great each game. Whenever you need somebody to step up, Austin Reeves, last game, it was young Lonnie Walker. Rui Hachimura last season or last what's the series? He stepped it up and was making a whole bunch of threes. So their players are doing what they need to do to maintain a lead or help get a lead or, once they're down against the Warriors, because they do get hot. You know about Klay Thompson, you know about Steph Curry, his 50-point game 7 in the last series, most in a game 7 ever. So, he can get hot. For the team to be able to battle those storms and come back and actually win these games and be up 3-1 is kind of impressive, especially with the Lakers being rated so low in the whole season. And for them to be taking out the Grizzlies, the 2 seed, and then potentially beating the team that beat the 3 seed is actually pretty amazing. So it looks like whenever AD plays well, the Lakers have a chance to dominate because AD, they don't have a match for them on the Warriors. Kevon Looney has been playing all right, but he's been sick the last 2 games, so they haven't been playing him big minutes. And then Draymond can't really guard him. It's kind of like if AD decides to be good, then they win, but it's like all in his head, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't see how AD couldn't do this every game, but he doesn't do it every game. So it seems like it's a mental thing for him. We're just lucky that he's staying healthy. But yeah, I feel like if he's locked in and can play like he's been playing, the sky's the limit for AD because again, he should be talked about with the Giannis's, the Jokic's, and the Embiid's, but he's been hurt the last couple of years and fallen a couple of tiers back. So this playoff is a big chance for him to prove himself as one of those guys. And a big performance in this closeout game that's happening right now could be that, be that thing that takes him over the top. Or, we'll see how this series ends because, like I said, a lot of people think the Warriors can come back and win this. So it's going to be interesting. Eastern Conference, the Celtics, the number 2 seed, are playing. The Sixers are number 3 seed with the MVP Joel Embiid, but it doesn't seem like the Celtics really want to win this series, man. It was tied 2-2 Last time I talked to you guys, I think it might have been 2-1 in favor of the Sixers. Um, but the Celtics were able to win a game, I think at home. And then when it came down, I don't know if it was at home. I think it was in Philadelphia. And then the second game, the Sixers were able to get that game up, so it ended up being 3-2. Yeah, the Sixers won in Boston actually, which is interesting. 2-2 going back to Boston. We expect that the Boston Celtics could win that game and take advantage and take the series back from Philadelphia and go up 3-2. But the opposite actually happened in this last game that recently happened. James Harden, he's reemerging in the playoffs. Everybody kind of doubts James Harden in the playoffs and thinks he disappears and he doesn't really show up in the playoffs. He's showing now. Embiid was out a game or so. It was out a game. He scored 45 points and had like 10 assists and stuff like that. The others on the team, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, have really been stepping up and helping the Sixers actually, get past the Celtics team that everybody thought was the best team in the NBA besides the Milwaukee Bucks. And they're in the finals last year, so everybody thought they were going to get right back to the finals and be this team that was to be reckoned with. But the Sixers are actually, exposing the Celtics a little bit. I mean, they're a deep team. They have a lot of good players, but it seems like when their best players don't play well, it's kind of tough for the team to get going. Especially Tatum, man, he's having a bad series. I don't know if I want to say I don't even want to say a bad playoffs, but it does seem like the pressure is kind of getting to him. Jaylen Brown has been the best player on the team a couple of games in the playoffs. And the others, Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon, have been catalysts for the team with Tatum not doing the best. But I mean, I hope he gets it back, man, because they are down 3-2. They're going back to Philly, and Philly can close it out on their home floor. So that's not a good look. Hopefully, Boston can still win there and take it back to Boston for a game 7 and actually win it on their floor, because their fans are not going to let them live it down, because this season was supposed to be their season to get back to the championship and prove what they can do, because especially since the Bucks got eliminated early. Man, it's crazy, man. And they're both eligible for the Supermax, talking Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We don't know what this team is going to be next year, if they're going to split them up, because there's been a whole lot of talks about Jaylen Brown possibly being traded because he wants to be a number one. And if you see how they play basketball, sometimes you can see how they're taking turns to be like, who's going to shoot the ball? Like, whose turn is it to score? Or should I be aggressive type of thing instead of just playing ball? So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Me personally, I think he'll stay. They need to stay together and maybe pick up a better big. Al Horford's good, but he's really old, and Robert Williams gets hurt all the time. That's what I say personally. And Joel Embiid is out there; he can get whatever he wants. Last game he had 33 points, I think like 8 rebounds and like 4 blocks. You know what I'm saying? So his presence on the defensive end is scaring Tatum and company from driving in. And if they're not making a million threes, it seems like they can't really score. And then on the other end, whatever big they actually have can't really stop Embiid from shooting at the elbow. Anything within 18 feet is the cookies automatic, and he can shoot the 3 too. So, and when you bring the double, he's just kicking it to people who are making shots. So it's going to be tough for the Celtics to win. I'm rooting for them because, yeah, I don't want the Sixers to be in the championship. And now the betting odds are the Sixers and the Nuggets in the championship against each other. You know how crazy that would be? Jokic versus Embiid in the championship. It'll be a real showdown of who's the real big man out here. You feel me? But the Knicks and the Heat, 5th seeded Knicks are playing the 8th seeded Heat. It was 3-1 in Heat's favor until today. That game just completed. The Knicks actually got a game at home, so it is 3-2 now, going back to Miami for game 6. We'll see what happens. The first couple of games, Miami kind of just had their way. It's just interesting to me how Miami's actually able to go out there and compete with these teams with just players that aren't really highly heralded, these role players and these undrafted players that are just going out there and handling business. And Jimmy Butler, you know what I mean? And Bam Adebayo, them two and everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes. I think Miami is still going to win this series. It was 3-1, so, the Knicks kind of had to win this game. It's do or die. Plus, you don't want to lose in front of your home fans. So Miami, I feel like, didn't really care much about this game. They wanted to close it out, but they don't mind winning it at home. That's what I feel, especially anyone up 3-1. It's kind of the mentality anyways. You have a couple of games to give before you really have to get worried. especially when you're at a away game up 3-1. The home team is kind of expected to win and just handle business at home, and you can move on. So the Heat are looking to do that. Knicks are trying to move on to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in I don't know how long. So it'll be cool to see that as well. Um, but I don't know, man. It seems like Jimmy Butler's on a mission. He was in the finals in the bubbles, ready to go back to the finals as well. All these teams are hungry, you know what I mean? All the teams have been to the Western Conference Finals before, and especially in the last, 3 years. The Lakers have been to the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors, of course, have been to the Western Conference Finals last year. The Nuggets have been to Western Conference Finals in 2020, and the Suns have definitely been there because they were in the finals as well. So all these teams are hungry and ready to get back to the playoffs and the finals or Western Conference Finals. So all the teams on the West are ready to do so, and the East is wide open now with the Bucks out. And like I said, I feel like whoever wins the series between the Sixers and the Celtics are going to be the winners of the East. So sorry, you guys, I'm gonna be looking down a lot. I got the Lakers and Warriors game in front of me. The Warriors are winning 14-5 right now and doing what they're supposed to do at home. I don't think the Lakers are going to take this game too serious. I think if it gets out of hand, they're just going to take out their starters for sure, for sure. But also talk a little bit about NFL. The NFL is releasing their schedules on Thursday. The NFL schedule release. I don't know why they're hyping this year. Me personally, I don't really care about the schedule release. Me this year, I'm kind of down and out about football. The first year without Tom Brady in the last 3 years, and we got Baker Mayfield to replace him. Man, we were bad last year with Tom Brady, so I don't know if that was just him getting old or our team is that was a long three. Our team is just really that bad last year, but I feel like we have the requisite pieces to actually really be good. But we don't know, man. With Baker Mayfield, you can never guarantee anything, especially being good. So I'm just in a wait and see period, and I think this is the perfect year if we are going to be bad to be bad for one of these two quarterbacks coming out, either Drake May or Caleb Williams, preferably Caleb Williams because he's the one that's going to be all talked about and hyped up the most. But Drake May might be the sleeper, man, because I saw him. We played him last year. Oregon played him last year in a bowl game, and that boy was throwing the rock around. But everybody knows what Caleb Williams is. He's the next Patrick Mahomes, it looks like. I don't know about accomplishments in the NFL, but how he plays and how he can move in the pocket and just throw on the run and just make plays happen is really Patrick Mahomes-ish. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, a lot of these teams, a lot of these fans of, at least my friends that are fans of these football teams, they're excited to see their schedule because they think their team going to win it every year. I was like that the last couple of years, but I'm being realistic this year. But it is interesting to see what their schedule is going to be because teams that like local teams, as far as like LA teams or Las Vegas Raiders or the 49ers, seeing what teams are going to come into your town, your home stadium, seeing what games you want to go to, or if you are out of town fan, seeing if one of your teams are going to come play local team where you live at. That's going to be exciting to see as well. The schedule release is more so for the people up top, the teams that are expected to win the championship or make the playoffs, just to see how easy the road to it's going to be. Me personally, I think any game we play, any team we play is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a flip of the coin to see who's going to win. Because I think we can play with the best teams on our best days, and we can lose to the worst team on our best day. Football, man. Last year we went through. We still made the playoffs and shit, but it was ugly football. But we got a bunch of new boys out there. We're going to see what the quarterback competition holds for us. Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield. I wish we would have got a veteran out there to kind of see what's going on, but I guess our money's tight right now. So look, we were talking about signing Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not against that because we couldn't score in the red zone for shit. But I think with Ezekiel Elliott, we can do that. I don't know how this schedule release turned into a Buccaneers talk, but it did. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't really know what the hype is really about the NFL schedule being released. But again, I think it's just like locale planning, just so you know where the games are going to be. Maybe a game's going to be on Christmas, maybe a game's going to be on Thanksgiving that you want to go out and see somewhere, or watch at a specific venue. You want to be prepared for that. I get it. Maybe I should stop being a hater and actually, be excited with y'all. But I don't know, man. This season's going to be fucking hell. Excuse me, YouTube. I'm sorry. I should not be cussing, but you feel me? Let's hop into some cinema corner. Writers Guild of America is on strike for sure now. Before, I talked about it last week, I think. It was more so I felt like some writers were striking. It wasn't an official strike yet. but it was making its way there, and a decision had to be made on some of the some of the disagreements between the Writers Guild and these companies, and I don't think it got made, and no deal got made. So this strike is official now. About 11,500 people are officially on strike in the Writers Guild of America, and I don't know. It just seems like there's no end in really sight. Like we don't know when it's gonna these what's the word I'm looking for? These when you talk something over with somebody, these I don't know when these negotiations are gonna begin and actually go through. I don't know if they plan to. These companies have all the money in the world, and now they're getting all the tricks of the trade to go around actually having real humans be in their companies to make them money. So I don't know if they're going to bend, especially with the money that they got. Last strike that the writers had, I think back in 2007, it lasted 100 days. And we're actually already seeing the effects of these writers striking. And me personally, I say power to them because, the way that they're doing writers now with the evolution of streaming and AI and stuff like that, it's kind of messed up. Not kind of messed up. It really is messed up. These writers just want to have job security and be able to be paid for the length of projects and just just show that these actual people matter, and you're not just trying to make money, a quick dollar, and just take their ideas and use them and have these people be one-offs. Like, okay, you people used to be writing for seasons and be locked in for a project for a while. Now people are being used episodically for streaming episodes that they get paid one time, and they definitely can't sustain a living off of, you know, off of their creation. I, we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing a lot of the effects of this stuff right now in the media. All the late night talk shows and stuff like that have gone dark. SNL showing reruns, all the late night talk shows, the Jimmy Fallons of the world. I don't know who it is that does. What's the dude's name? All those late night talk shows and stuff like that that kind of rely on writers. They're all showing reruns right now because the writers are on strike, and they're not allowed to seek outside help or rewrite stuff themselves because that'll be against the agreement and they'll be in violation. So all these shows can't really do anything right now. They're stopping. There's a lot of movies and stuff, projects that are supposed to be coming out in late 2024, 2025. For example, Daredevil, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things prequels. Of course, I talked a lot about the Blade movie. All these movies and shows have been in production or starting production. They have all been put on hold due to the writer's strike. So a lot of the stuff is in jeopardy, especially Blade, because we already had a director quit, got a new director, already had a writer quit, got a new writer. Now the writers are on strike. So people are losing hope that the Blade movie is actually going to come out because they can't get it filmed, they can't get a writer for it. It's just been a whole bunch of stuff that's been holding up the movie's creation, and it's sad, man. I was ready for Blade. Blade is one of their top, I wouldn't say top characters in Marvel, but I'm saying the most anticipated, just because of how heralded it was back in the day, and just the whole aspect of it, because we don't really have what Blade is in the MCU now. Everything now is pretty, like I said, all cookie cutter, kind of straightforward, heroes this, hero's journey, but they don't really explore the dark side of what Blade has to offer. You know what I mean? They don't show vampires killing people, excuse me, or anybody killing vampires. And then New Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, that's the kind of, well, in Deadpool as well, but the violence and the darkness of the movie, that's as far as they have gone, in my opinion, is Guardians of the Galaxy for the MCU. So I don't know. I don't understand how this can be in such jeopardy. This should have been like one of the projects that they put up front in the forefront, been trying to get it done and pushing it forward like they're doing like with the Marvels and stuff like that, movies that we don't need. You know what I mean? It's just like Blade is a property that I don't know. I guess you can get some other actor, but Mahershala Ali, if he comes to you and actually wants to use your IP and gives you the idea to make a movie, and you guys, are just messing it up like this, and then once the writers go on strike, we don't know when they're going to come back. He's just going to be getting older, and he can't put his career on pause to do Blade if you guys just don't have it together as far as anything. I mean, like we said, he is getting his writer, his homie writer from True Detective when he did play in True Detective, but I'm sure that writer is on strike now with everybody else. So it's interesting. It's really interesting, man. Like I said, I'm a frequent TV show, frequent video game player, frequent movie watcher. I review that for you guys. So a lot of what I do and what I enjoy is kind of like wrapped up and around these writers too. Me personally, I support the writers and what they're doing. Hope they get everything they deserve because they do deserve a lot. Like I said, all these characters you see behind me, writers have something to do with getting me to like these people. You know what I'm saying? Like these characters that don't exist. They put it all together and made me actually enjoy and fall in love and what I'm saying, collect their toys, you know what I'm saying, collect their memorabilia. So if writers are able to do that, bring out the kid in you, just I don't know. It's just like nothing makes me happier than when somebody brings a show to me and tells me how much they're enjoying it, a movie that they enjoyed so much, because you can see the light in their eyes, you know what I'm saying? And writers had something to do with that, you know. Pop culture moments are made by these writers, and since I'm so ingratiated in pop culture, I'd be remiss to say we don't need these writers. I know they're trying to get all this AI stuff to come in here, Chat GPT, whatever it's called, Chat GPT, to go ahead and create scripts, create these movies, create all this stuff in AI. You know what I mean? So we don't really need these people, but I don't know. I don't think that's real, man. We need that heart of a real person. You know what I'm saying? To get something as obscure as what Baby Yoda. I know Star Wars is huge, but you know what I'm saying, back in the day when you first saw Yoda, what'd you think of him? A writer put him in a movie purposely to try to get you guys to fall in love with this character, and they succeeded. So much so that they have another baby one that comes out and you love that character too. You know what I mean? Writers will do that for you, man. I mean, and I like again, I'm a nerd. I'm a show nerd, TV show nerd, movie nerd. So all this stuff, I just have a high appreciation, and it's an art form. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like podcasting. If people said, well, you don't always get paid super off a podcast, so you have to work hard to get paid as a podcaster. But if I was getting paid hella money off podcasting, then they all of a sudden told me you're gonna cut that in half just because we don't feel like what you do is important, and we can get a robot to do it for twice under half the pay that we pay you. So we're gonna go that route instead of actually having a real human. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm thinking too deep about it, but I think it's important to let all art live. And we don't need to hurry up and get too carried away and transition into this AI, artificial intelligent life to take away from what real humans could do, the love and care that they put into their jobs. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to go full robotic on them yet. Not yet. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second, get some Wawa. Yeah. Moving on, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming out June 2nd. I know I talked about this a little bit, but as we get closer in this June, the summer, these summer blockbusters is going to be coming out fast and in a hurry. So I wanted to let y'all know how I felt about the new trailers and the new kind of what I think the movie is going to be about. Firstly, they just dropped some shoes for Across the Spider-Verse, these ones that have like glow in the dark soles, and they have a whole bunch of significant patterns on the shoe to mirror the movie. They shock dropped them a couple of weeks ago and I couldn't get my hands on them, but they drop it again on May 20th, May 20th, I believe. Man, I got to get those so I can wear them to the movie premiere. I'm really excited to see this. The first one, Into the Spider-Verse, I liked it a lot. I'm not gonna lie, the art form, the story, the heart, the soundtrack, what happens in the movie, it just took me through a range of emotions. Um, and for the second one to be coming out and seeing that it's another movie dealing with multiverses, we also get to see a whole bunch of different Spider-Men. We get to see the evolution of Miles Morales. I really like Miles Morales. I have a whole bunch of Funko Pops over here of Miles Morales. I think it's a very interesting Spider-Man, especially since he's the mix, half black, half Hispanic Spider-Man. I think that's really good representation for him to be basically the second best Spider-Man. Peter Parker is always going to be the number one Spider-Man, but next to him, I think Miles Morales is the next one in line. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, it just seems like he's up there, and he got those extra spider powers. He has that Venom sting, and he can turn invisible. You know what I'm saying? And he be wearing the J's, so it's like, how can you not like Miles Morales? But I'm excited to see the movie. A lot of star cameos. Oscar Isaac is playing the bad guy, though. He's everywhere. Him and Pablo Pascal. Pascal. I say that all the time, but man, every time I see something, one of them is in it, or both of them are in it. It's crazy. But yeah, he's playing Spider-Man 2099. We got Jake Johnson coming back as Peter B. Parker. Shamik is it Shamik Moore coming back to voice Miles Morales. I think you have who else we got? There's a whole bunch of people in this movie. People are all returning from the first one. Spider-Gwen is returning. I forgot who plays Spider-Gwen. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, and interesting to see what the plot of the movie is. It just looks like Spider-Man is gonna be trying to, I don't know. People think that his dad's gonna die or something. He's gonna be trying to go back and right that wrong and save his dad from dying, in which is gonna mess up the multiverse for all the Spider-Man. Or somebody else is going to be in trouble and he's going to try to save them. But Spider-Man 2099 is not going to want him to do that just because of what it could do to the Spider-Verse. So it's going to be interesting. It looks like he's fighting all the Spider-Man at once in one scene. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to actually be on his side and who's actually going to be fighting with them, because Spider-Man 2099 does make an announcement and be like, don't let him leave. And they all start, jumping at him, trying to kill him. I'm excited. Spider-Punk is in it. You know what I mean? You had the paper bag Spider-Man when he had the paper bag on his head, Scarlet Spider. Just every Spider-Man's gonna be in that thing. They had Metro Boomin even as Spider-Man in it because he's doing the soundtrack. I guess he has a cameo in it as well. So it's gonna be a dope movie. Shoot, it came faster than pause. It came up faster than I thought it was. June 2nd is right around the corner. We just had Guardians come out, so MCU is out here just making moves. I don't know if it's actually MCU, to be honest, actually. I think it's a Sony Pictures type of deal. But either way, it's Spider-Man, so we out here. Yeah, I'm really excited for that, and hopefully I can get those shoes, yo. Somebody get me those shoes. But yeah, I'm expecting a lot from it, especially out of the first one, how much heart and stuff that it had in the movie. I hope this is not just like a whole bunch of Spider-Man are in the movie and that's gonna make it cool. But just the artwork alone, just the animation alone is good enough for me. And just for the fact that we have another Miles Morales, Spider-Man movie. This is supposed to be the longest animated movie ever put out, 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's gonna be a long one. It's not that long to me personally, because I think a lot of the movies we've been watching now have been hella long. So I don't really think that 2 hours and 20 minutes is a lot of time. But dang, a foul for real, man. Man, oh man. If the Warriors let the Lakers beat them at home, boy. But I am excited to see that. Speaking of something I am excited to see, which kind of snuck up on me as well, Secret Invasion's coming out June 21st. This one's a little bit later in June, so it's a little over a month. But I didn't really expect another MCU show on Disney Plus to come out so soon, especially one this big. Samuel L. Jackson coming back in this spy kind of espionage type of MCU show. It's him trying to come back and save the world from the Skrulls. I haven't seen any super powered beings in the show as of yet. But who knows? It's probably gonna be a bunch of cameos. I heard it's gonna be 6 hour long episodes, so we're gonna get a lot of the show. Hopefully, we get the hour long episodes, and 10 minutes don't be the previews, and it really be 50 minutes. But we need an hour long, seeing what Nick Fury has been doing, seeing what the Skrulls is gonna do, what they trying to do. Yeah, seeing what the Skrulls have been up to since we last saw him in Captain Marvel. It's an interesting character, an interesting villain. But I'm excited to see because Nick Fury is pretty old. I mean, Samuel Jackson's pretty old, so I don't know what he's gonna kind of cook up. Is he gonna be on that secret agent shit like he was in Winter Soldier, just go out there popping shit, or is he gonna get calling the big guns? Maybe Captain America, maybe a Winter Soldier cameo, Scarlet Witch. Actually, Scarlet Witch is dead, so I don't know if that's gonna actually happen. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's gonna actually happen. I don't even know what year it's supposed to be taking place. Maybe it is post blip. I don't know. Yeah. It's confusing. They be putting they storylines be. I mean, they do connect, but it's like, damn. Sometimes you got to remind us in the movie what part of you know, what part of the MCU we at? Is it post? It has to be post blip too, because Nick Fury did get snapped. I remember that because as he did, he pressed the blink blink. But did he go to space with the Skrulls after that? Because it seems like he did that after Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel was in like the 90s. So maybe he's just now coming back down. I don't know, because the snap was post 90s though. I don't know, man. Somebody out there let me know what's going on, because I'm confused at this moment, as you can see. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see Samuel got cooked up for us. Really, really excited to see that. What we got next? Grand Theft Auto update. I know everybody's been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. Everybody's been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, updating that shit, updating that shit. I know the RP on the PC, you can do anything with that. So people have been on that for sure, for sure. And the Grand Theft Auto 5. I had it on PS5, but I don't really play it that much because you can't do the stuff you can do in RP. You know what I'm saying? Customize your clothes, customize your cars, role play, be something you want to be. You know what I'm saying? In a fake world, but it's kind of like metaverse. You know what I mean? Shout out John, shout out Johnny Boy because he be out there RPing it up and drip on what's it called? Drip. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to be the most expensive game put out in a while. It has $1 billion budget, including marketing, but they say they're gonna be able to recoup all the money upon its release, just because it believes in itself that much. There's probably gonna be hella add-ons. Um, yeah, I don't know if they're gonna let the RP shit happen right away, but I'm sure this game is gonna be so highly heralded. Everybody's gonna be online to buy it, and then once everybody does, they're probably gonna have so much in-game purchases that you can make. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably gonna make back its money right away. Have nothing to worry about. That $1 billion is crazy though. I would never expect the game to cost $1 billion to make. But yeah, interesting stuff, interesting stuff. Let me get into what everybody's here for. Let me get into it. Let me get right into it. Hold on, I'm setting it up because you already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. It's time for the dual cameras in this thing. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I saw the movie, and I'm gonna tell you guys, it's my favorite one. It's really battling number one in my eyes, but number three, it was tugging at the heartstrings. It was dark. You know what I'm saying? Had us laughing, had us crying at some points. I didn't really shed no tear, but I shed a thug tear. You know what I'm saying? Because what was going on in the movie was crazy. I went by myself, you know what I'm saying, on a Sunday. I didn't see it on the Thursday like everybody else in the rush to see it. I like to see it by myself and not in the full theater so I can really absorb what's going on and everybody could see it. I didn't get spoiled. I just waited, you know what I'm saying? I'm really disciplined with this stuff here. And I can say I really liked it. It was a Rocket story for real. We did get to see the whole team, but the story was really centered around Rocket. Really quickly, spoiler alert. Let me not get into that without even talking about that or saying spoiler alert, because if this is the part of the podcast you guys don't want to hear because you ain't seen the movie yet, you can hop off, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna talk about the movie and it's gonna get kind of spoiled. So spoiler alert, my friends. But yeah, the movie was about Rocket pretty much. There had some stuff in the movie that didn't need to be in there, but we did get the whole James Gunn formula. Heart, we got the music soundtrack, we got the comedy, of course. But ultimately, I really liked it. I like how they ingratiated Adam Warlock, though I feel like he could have been out of the movie and came in another time because they really just used him for comic relief. I know the actor that played him was in We Are the Millers, but I didn't really expect him to play a comedic role as Adam Warlock just because of the kind of character that Adam Warlock is. He is really supposed to be uh, that spaceman, you know what I'm saying? That guy in space that can't be messed with, the supreme being with all kinds of powers and stuff like that. So for him to just be coming in and being just a son of the sovereign and not really having a purpose, just kind of being comic relief was kind of shady. But he did come in hot at the beginning of the movie, you know what I'm saying? Pause, not like that, but came in trying to kill everybody. And I thought he was gonna kill everybody because if you know the backstory of Adam Warlock, you know how he gets down. He's hella powerful. You can't really kill him. He's super OP. But they did say in the movie that he didn't get to cook long enough in the cocoon. The cocoon we saw at the end of, I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They took him out too early, so they're saying that he had the brain of a child. So it's like, just imagine like Superman with a child's brain. He didn't really have it all together. You know what I mean? So it was kind of tough for him to get everything together and be a really cool character. But his cameo it kind of started off what happened in the movie. I'm back, you guys. I'm sorry. I had to do that for the fans. You know what I'm saying, on the Instagram, you feel me? But yeah, it started off as, the Guardians are in nowhere, just kind of chilling. If you watch the Christmas special, you know that they are owners of nowhere. They got it from the collector. It's just a floating celestial head that's big enough to home a whole bunch of people. And you see the whole Guardians of the Galaxy actually there, Kraglin. You do see Cosmo for the first time. The Russian telepathic dog that they got now. Everybody was chilling. You see that Peter Quill is kind of like still in mourning over Gamora, and he's kind of sad about everything still. Um, yeah, and we see Mantis, Nebula's there, still rocking with him. But we don't see Gamora there. We know Gamora came back um in game, but it's not the same Gamora. It's like Gamora from 2014. So it's not the one that was in love with Peter Quill. So it's kind of awkward, especially with her being a Ravager, which is supposed to be Peter Quill's job, but he was with the Sylvester Stallone squad. Um, yeah, it was interesting to see everybody back together. You still had the comic relief of Mantis and Drax's relationship. That was really cool to see. But the story was dope. It was good to see Groot back to regular size. Groot actually did a whole bunch in this movie that I actually liked a lot. But yeah, you saw right away Adam Warlock comes in hot and tries to kill Rocket, tries to get Rocket pretty much and bring him back to the High Evolutionary, which is the main bad guy, played by, let me try to say his name, Chukwudi Iwuji. I don't know if I said it right, but I tried, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So he came in just from orders from the High Evolutionary and his mom from the Sovereign or whatever. We saw her in the first and second Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Um, Came in, tried to kill Rocket, tried to get Rocket. We saw all the Guardians kind of showing their powers and trying to get him, but we saw how powerful he was. He was powerful without even knowing how to fight, really. He would just take people and power them into the ground or use all his might without knowing it. You saw when he was fighting Groot. Groot was a huge buff, like tree part of himself, and he, tried to fight Adam Warlock. He turned him just into a head, you know what I mean? And he beat up everybody. Um, but, you know, Nebula was able to stab him in the chest and he was able to get away after being stabbed. That kind of introduced us to what the problem was going to be in the movie because Rocket did get injured in this first encounter with Adam Warlock, to where they had to try to put this med pack on his chest. I guess they have shit in that where you can just put anything on anything broken or messed up and it just automatically heals it. I need one of those for you know what I'm saying, for the house. But they couldn't do that to Rocket because his heart had a self-destruct mechanism that was put in there by the High Evolutionary, because this guy's a messed up character who, yeah, if you're not into, well, nobody's really into cruelty to animals, but if you're really against that kind of thing, this movie kind of touches on those heartstrings because the High Evolutionary was an asshole who experimented on animals and stuff to try to make the supreme being, whether that be half animal, half machine, or making humanoid animals. He just did a whole bunch of stuff, creating of things that gave him this kind of God complex. And that was kind of like the story throughout the story throughout the movie, was the High Evolutionary wanted Rocket because he is one of the creations that he made that surpassed all the other creations. He had, he was a genius, able to create stuff. Rocket, how he gets down, and throughout the movies, he was talking about how he never wanted to be created, how he had a whole bunch of lab stuff done on him to make him the way he is, and stuff like that. So for us to actually meet the person that did it to him and put a name to a face to a name is kind of crazy. Yeah, just seeing the backstory of Rocket. It was interesting how they did the movie because Rocket's pretty much one of the most interesting people in Guardians of the Galaxy. For him to get hurt in the beginning and not really be in the movie, just being like a victim that the story was about, was interesting as well. The backstory of him when he was little being tested on by animals or by the High Evolutionary, and him meeting his friends in the cages was pulling at the heartstrings. When he first came in the cage, was like, oh, it hurts. That shit, boy, it made me think of my animals right away and just shit that they be thinking when they hurt. You know what I mean? It just pulled at the strings. But the relationship they grew, with Teeps and Lila and Floor, those guys, and just finding out that the High Evolutionary killed him just because after he built this long relationship and talked about being outside of the cages and going flying and stuff. Man, it was crazy. The High Evolutionary was an asshole, for real, for real. What else was cool in this movie? Oh, some of the stats. The movie had a budget of $250 million. Opening weekend, it made 118 mil, 289 million worldwide so far. In comparison, the first Guardians movie made 94 million opening weekend, worldwide. up to date, up to now, it made 773 million worldwide. Guardians 2 made 146 million opening weekend and did 863 million worldwide. So, this one's on a good pace. It's already at 289 million worldwide, and it's only the first weekend. And I think it did really well in China as well. So it's doing good. It was cool to see Nebula's evolution in this one too. We saw her get knocked out and crushed a whole bunch of times. I know she can just come back to part however she, however she wants. So she pretty much is unkillable. They said that Rocket made some upgrades on her to give her that arm cannon. I've never seen her arm cannon or her arm be able to change into swords and shit. She had some super upgrades, and if Rocket did that, boy, he's talented. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we saw her. We saw from the first movie how she was just kind of trying to please Thanos, and she was just had no heart really. She was a machine. But being with the team has, brought a lighter side to her. We saw the comedic side of her. Um, we saw her argue with Mantis, what I'm saying, like brother and sister, or like sisters, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool to see her actually ingratiate herself into the family when it was just her and Gamora. She had no want in being family, all she or want in being family. She just wanted to, please Thanos and Ronan. But it's kind of cool to see in this movie she's trying to convince Gamora that the Guardians are who she really needs to be with, and trying to just trying to get Gamora to realize, because in this movie Gamora wasn't with the shits at all. She was a Ravager. She didn't remember Peter at all. And I don't know. It just kind of seemed like she didn't go for any of his tricks, or it was cool to me how they didn't end up together at the end. I mean, I think she kind of realized that there's something that she could possibly have liked in Peter, but they didn't end up staying together at the end, which I liked as well. It didn't end in cliche kind of ways. I did enjoy again how what's her name? Nebula was like, oh, saw what happened to Rocket in a video and was like, wow, this is worse than what happened to me. And what Thanos did to me, and we know what Thanos did to her. They, just broke her down and put her together over and over again till she was kind of like the High Evolutionary, how Thanos did her, just to make her the ultimate weapon. And I'm sure that was torture. And to say that what High Evolutionary did to Rocket was worse than what they did to her, that's pretty crazy to see, and that's for her to say that is nuts. It's nuts to see. And then Groot himself too was crazy in this movie. They gave him a whole bunch of OP powers, and I'm glad that they gave him, because in the first couple of movies he was just kind of comic relief. In the first one he did show his powers a lot, but this one we got to see a lot of what he can do, and they made him super buff. They made him be able to take multiple guns, like 8 guns out of his back and arms, and just shoot hella guns. He was able to turn into a kaiju and just turn hella giant. That was really cool. He can regenerate really fast now. Can really regenerate from nothing. We saw when he was fighting Adam Warlock and he was just a head, he was able to turn into a whole body and just turn into Groot again without becoming a baby and shit like he did throughout the other movies. And I'll get to the end credits a little bit later, but how he was super big and hella buff now, that's definitely how I want my Groot to see. No more baby Groots, no more little baby cute Groots. Nah, make Groot be what Groot is supposed to be, a motherfucking thug. I'm just playing. He looked dope though. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. What else did I like in the movie? The skin planet is kind of weird. People say they like that scene and like going to that planet there, but it was just weird, man. For sure, James Gunn type of weird. Those suits that those bad guys had on was hella interesting. Those fat suits it looked like. And again, in this show, I mean, I thought me personally, when we had a couple of episodes with Damo, I was predicting that somebody was going to die in this, and they gave you little hints that somebody almost could have died hella times, but they actually were just fine. Nebula getting shot up and broken in half and shit. She just fixes her body. Freaking Drax gets shot by those dudes with the fat suits on. We thought he was gonna die. Nothing happened. Peter Quill, when Rocket was saving all the animals at the end, went out there to try to save somebody, and he ends up almost dying. And we thought he was gonna die, but Adam Warlock comes out of nowhere. Yeah, yeah. They did a whole bunch of teasing, but nobody died. And it was like, dang, man. I thought somebody was gonna die. It just seems like everybody just went their separate ways. Because I know Zoe Saldana said she's not going to be doing Gamora anymore. I know Drax didn't want to do. I mean, Batista didn't want to do Drax anymore. He felt like he wanted to do other things and didn't want to be Drax. And we had Mantis go off on her own at the end of the movie as well. So it's kind of weird. Gamora went off with the Ravengers, and Peter Quill just went down to Earth to hang out with his grandpa. So it ended kind of weird, but I mean, ultimately, again, it was about Rocket. They ended up going in the missions during the whole movie was pretty much to find the schematics to get that kill switch off of Rocket's heart, so they can put that healing mechanism on him, and he can be healed again. So that's pretty much what they were trying to do the whole movie. But again, we got to see mostly the backstory of what happened to Rocket as he became Rocket, and kind of gave us insight on why he was the way he was. You know what I'm saying? And man, he didn't want to. That tells you why he doesn't want to get too close to people, because when he did get close to people, they were all murdered. And yeah, that kind of really shows Rocket's personality. Um, but yeah, once he did get healed, and him talking to the High Evolutionary, and just their back and forth, and the stuff that they were saying to each other, it was just wild. It's like High Evolutionary didn't care nothing about Rocket. They just wanted him so he can take out his brain and study it, so he can create people and the beings that can be as smart as Rocket, instead of just kind of dumb creatures that he created. Mind you, he blew up a whole planet of creations that he made for no reason as well. So the High Evolutionary didn't care about nothing. It was just basically get Rocket and let's take out his brain. And it was cool to see also how the High Evolutionary had a fake face because of how Rocket did him once he found out he killed all his friends. Oof. That was something crazy to see. We saw a lot of gore in this one, a lot of gore, a lot of curse words. Freaking Peter Quill told Nebula to open the fucking door. First F-bomb I've heard an MCU movie on the PG-13. I think there's a bunch of F-bombs in Deadpool, but yeah, but it was good, man. We saw Adam Warlock. His mom was like, "Hey, show him show him we're not playing around." And he just melts the guy in front of him. We see a melted guy on screen, and then once they take off the High Evolutionary's face, you saw how messed up his face was from, Rocket scratching his face out. It was nuts, man. This movie was nuts. You know what I'm saying? Again, I think it's one of my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movies out of the three. It got the lowest rating so far in Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't know, man. I like the first one a lot. I wish they would have used Nova a little bit more. They made Nova a core instead of one character, which I would have thought if they put Nova in it, it would have been kind of dope. But at the same time, maybe it would have took away from the actual story. I like how it was well, I don't know if I like how it was standalone. I kind of wish they would have had some connective tissue to the rest of the MCU and how it's going now to push Phase 5 forward. But at the same time, maybe it's not, because it's James Gunn's last movie with the MCU, since he's going to be doing that DCU stuff now. So it's going to be real interesting to see what's going to happen. Um, because again, everybody kind of disbanded, but the Guardians got a new team after Rocket was able to heal herself and free all the animals. That was a cool scene too. Kraglin drove Ego into the High Evolutionary ship, and all the animals jumped from one side to the other side. That was pretty tight. We saw Cosmo use her telekinetic powers. The whole bad dog, good dog thing was pretty tight too. A little funny, little jokey joke. But yeah, seeing all the animals be saved was a good retribution. Get him off the High Evolutionary ship, because he knows they're all gonna get killed. He couldn't just save the raccoons. He was like, I gotta save everybody. And that was dope. That was really dope. And at the end credit scenes were pretty cool as well. The first one was, at least, when we saw the whole new team of Guardians. We saw Rocket was the new captain. Adam Warlock was up in there, had Cosmo in there. And Groot again was super buff, looked like a huge, you know what I'm saying? Looked like the Thing on steroids. Um, who else was in there? They had this what do they had? Kraglin, Cosmo, Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, and this girl that they actually saved from the High Evolutionary. Her name was Scylla. She's pretty much a mixture of Captain Marvel, and not Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel, but a character before Captain Marvel, and she's a Titan. So she's supposed to be powered, highly powered. She was in the comics and was a character in the comics, but they didn't explain her at all in the movie. But at the end, we saw that she was part of the Guardians. I don't know if they're actually going to make a movie with them, but they're probably going to pop up in some kind of Avengers show or movie or something like that. So I'm pretty confident in that. We waited to the end of the credits just to see Star-Lord eat some cereal and talk about cutting his neighbor's lawn when they have a 40-year-old son that's able to do it. Yeah, and then it just said Star-Lord will return. I don't know if it's going to be in a limited capacity or if it's going to be in one of those special presentations. Who knows? But I think the Guardians as we know it, we're not going to get any more movies. I think personally, those as standalones with James Gunn directing them all as a trilogy is interesting in itself. I don't think they have actually done that in MCU yet the same director do all three movies. So that's an accomplishment in itself, and he's going over to do DCU. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Chris Pratt or whoever is going to join James Gunn over there and be some of those characters that they have over there in the DCU. So until that happens, we don't know what's next for the MCU really. And with this writer strike, we don't know what's actually going to come out because we know what they have recorded and stuff, but I don't know if any of the new properties or anything is going to be able to come out until the strike is over. That puts Fantastic Four in jeopardy, X-Men in jeopardy, of course, Blade in jeopardy. But at least we got Secret Invasions and, Spider-Man coming up. So, yeah, again, I think I rate that as I have to see it again. I'm definitely going to see it again. And once I do, I can put it up against number one. Number two, I'm not the biggest fan of. I still watch it from time to time, but I'm a bigger fan of number one. The origin story was dope. Just the first scene where they all trying to get the orb and they get caught by the Nova Corps. I thought that was hella dope. And then when they first get to jail, when they're talking about their powers and stuff with John C. Riley, that shit is pretty dope. So I don't know. I have to put it up against watch it again and I'll let you guys know. And then I'll put it up against all 32 Marvel properties, I guess, and we'll see what we're doing. But yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Hope I didn't talk too long for y'all. I did, what I'm saying, I did what I was gonna do. I did the review of the Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn's last property, part 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy. Hopefully you're able to keep up with it. If you haven't seen it, haven't seen any of the Guardians, make sure you watch 1, 2, 3, and the Christmas special, and maybe a little bit of Endgame too, just so you know exactly what's happening because all of it's connected. But it was a great movie all in all. But again, into the podcast where I like to let them know where to find me at. It's your boy SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. If you're looking for me on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? It's Patrick. Just check it out, Patrick Washington. I know I'm giving you my government name when I say that, but you guys already know who I be. Twitch, you know what I'm saying? I'm on there too. I think it's under Lydell Dinero. You can check me out, Lydell Dinero 22. I haven't plugged that a lot. I haven't been on there in a while, but I be playing games sometimes. I got Harry Potter, so if y'all want to watch me play Harry Potter or some Call of Duty or something, holla at me. Just some more access to your boy. Merch, of course, actually YouTube. Let me not skip that. Best of Bias on YouTube, bestofbias.com if you want to check out some episodes that I have on there, from episodes 1 to 99. Again, I don't know if you guys really remember, but it used to be called the Best of Bias Podcast. Episodes 1 through 98 are on there. But the episodes have been getting kind of messed up. But we have the Best of Bias on our side where it's episodes 99 through 163 now. So it's a bunch of podcasts. We don't have a full catalog altogether right now, but we have a bunch of stuff you guys want to look back. And of course, we have us on the YouTube where we have every video. We got clips now. I've been doing a good job of time stamping so you guys can jump around. I did that for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just so y'all can digest it a little better and not have to jump in and watch it all. I'm here for the people. You know how I do it. Merch, we got a whole bunch of it. Should I show you guys again? Because I got it sitting right next to me now. Merch. We got the bucket hats, you feel me? And we got the beanies, you feel me? Sorry, audio listeners, you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm showing the merch. Oh, we got beanies. Hard Eyes still available. I know it's not Valentine's Day, but get it for your girl. You know what I'm saying? If you guys like the fellas like the Hard Eyes as well, we got those. Limited. We got limited to the big face growly. But we do have the glasses, growly, and a whole bunch of styles as well. Dad hats, bucket hats, beanies, as you saw. What other ones? Trucker hats, of course. The dad hats, we got distressed and regular now, just in case people didn't like the distressed look. We have the regular as well for the dad hat. So hit me up. T-shirt wise, we still got a bunch of product. Again, black ones, the BOBP, the back of the shirts. Look, growly doing his thing with the superpowers. Thanks, Jackson. Again, shout out Jackson, Arts by Jax. I think it is on Instagram. Check him out. He does a whole bunch of work and commissions work too. So if you need something done, hit him up. And maybe you can help you out find the next thing. Look at this one right here. Big growly energy. You feel me? Big growly energy. Got the BOBP in the front. More hats, more styles, and more t-shirts and more styles coming real soon. We working on it. We always working here at the Best of Bias podcast to bring the best content and the best merch to the fans, to the family, because you know why? It's not just a podcast, it's merch gang, merch gang, merch gang. But yeah, man, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 review, some NBA updates. I'll keep updating you guys on the NBA until we get to the championship. So I'll tell you guys who wins the championship. Hopefully it's the Nuggets, you feel me? Hopefully we get there and can represent. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good Friday. Enjoy it. If your team's playing today, good luck for you. If your team is not playing today, good luck being a fan. Root for the Nuggets if you want to, because we ain't the most, hype team out here. We the most hated. Nobody wants us to make the championship. Jokic out here doing historic things. But if you want to ride with the young boy, you know what I'm saying? Not hop on one of these bandwagon teams that always be winning. Give it to the first timers out here. Nuggets, if we make the finals, it'll be the first time the Nuggets has ever been to the NBA finals. Knock, knock, knock. So we're just trying to make history out here. I'm just trying to be hopeful. I'm hoping not jinxing my team, but if you ain't got a team in the playoffs right now, root for us. We need some help. We need some rooting for, and we'll get the job done for y'all with that extra prayer. But yeah, it's the Best of Bias podcast. It's your boy Lydell Dinero. Enjoy that Friday. Thank you for being here. Come back next week. Same time, same place. It's your boy. And where that theme song at? Right here. It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell Dinero and Hugo Twilight.
Oh yeah, I guess you guys can call this bonus content because I almost forgot. Last week I shouted out Charijoy and I was showing the pops that I had in my phone and not the actual screen. So if you guys are watching the podcast, you'll probably be like, well, what is he even showing? He didn't even show it in the screen correctly. So let me do that real quick. So let's start off with a couple. Of course, again, Charijoy exclusives from the homie on Whatnot. If you check him out on Instagram, he's called him and his wife. Excuse me. I keep giving him all the credit and not letting you know his wife is involved as well. They do great custom work here. Again, there's a bunch of glare, but this is Nami from One Piece. They take the top off the pop, introvert the boxes on the inside, and then add art to it. Check it out. If you guys know One Piece, this is Nami from One Piece. The art they do is super exclusive, one of one, and amazing. Let me show you some more stuff. Nightcrawler from X-Men. Ooh, you see him in there. This light is crazy right now. You see him in there. Let me spin it for you. Kurt Wagner from X-Men. What else we got? Let me not slow it down for you. Colossus, X-Men, another Charijoy exclusive, one of one. I have like 5 of these things now. You know what I'm saying? Looking to get more. If you guys are looking to get one, hop on Instagram, Charijoy Collections, I think. They have a whole bunch and they, every night they on Whatnot selling these. Miles Morales, Charijoy. Winter suit. Balling out. What else we got? We got one more for y'all. Say the best for last. The Rock. So yeah, last time I was talking about him, but I was talking about him down here so you couldn't see it. But yeah, man, Charijoy exclusive. You don't get no Funko shadow, so you can see your pop. Well, not on mine because it's super glary on here. But yeah, my bad last time, y'all. I didn't get to show you guys my actual pops that I got customized. But yeah, again, I'm going to a convention soon. I'm gonna show you guys all my autographs I get. That's the next thing I want to show y'all. But shout out Charijoy, and you can add this in the extra in there, aka my bad. I forgot to mention it. I was so in the groove with the movie review, but yeah. Charijoy, shout out y'all, and I will be definitely coming back for more. And again, if you guys are looking for a Charijoy exclusive, hit them up on Instagram, Charijoy Collections. And if you're on Whatnot, Charijoy, they're on there every night around 9:30. So check it out. Check it out, check it out, check it out. It's your boy Lydell Dinero. We out of here. Sorry.